I've got a link for you for the GitHub repo so that you know where I'm starting from in today's RPG stream. Just finishing off my stream checks. It's just taken me a little bit longer than normal, so that's what I'm looking down on my laptop. Therefore, got a fairly comprehensive checklist now for streaming these days, which is fun. So just say hello, say you can hear me in the chat. Always good to have you here. Love to know who's on, love to know where you are in the world. Love to know some real names, at least first names, always good to hear. And that's good, yeah. So as customary, I will put on my makeup, get rid of the shiny patches, which obviously I could do before I go live, but that wouldn't be so authentic. So I tend to leave it until I am live. Had a great stream last night. Had an awesome code review. Remember to take a look at that on our Twitch page. You can look back at the videos, our busiest stream, and I think you guys will find that it was super helpful. Episode 1, here you go, of the Meet the Mentors series. Like running a TV station here. We've got a whole bunch of different things going down. So that is cool. All right, so I'm going to be working on the RPG this morning. I think I'll just plug in some monitor earphones so that you can hear me nice and clearly, and I can tell what you can hear. This microphone's really good, but it's super sensitive to how far I am away from it. I may, for the sake at least of streaming, of trying Mikey's less sensitive microphone that I'm eyeing up over there. And it's black, that's the other benefit, slightly more subtle. Watching from a lovely and cloudy and cool Cambridge. You are? Oh, hi, I'm Temi. Well, I'm Cambridge, UK or Cambridge, US? Because if you're Cambridge, UK, you might as well come down to my house and see the stream live because you're not very far away. If it's Cambridge, US, well, then I'm sorry for you. Let me know. Hi, I'm Temi. It'd be great to... Oh, fantastic. Well, welcome. You're in Cambridge. We should meet up one day. I go to, where could we meet? We could meet at Pitch and Mix on Thursday mornings, every other Thursday. I might be going this Thursday. Take a look on meetup.com, look for Pitch and Mix. I think it meets about 8:45 at Clown's Cafe. There you go. We could meet there. I go occasionally. All right, awesome. So let's crack on with this puppy. Good to know you're up by the Science Park, a nice part of Cambridge. Who else do we have on, and where in the world are you guys from? That would be interesting to hear. Get my stream inspector up on my other laptop here, just because if we lose you, then at least you know. Looks like we are stable so far. We have a congratulations, you don't need to change nothing sign on the screen, which is always good. Nothing is a technical term. Let's have a look at that, 25. Awesome. So, Italy. We've got Italy here. We have Cambridge. We are bound to have somebody here from the US. I bet Bindi's here. Bindi's always here. We can't live without Bindi. Bindi must be here. Avi NL, I don't know if Avi's from here from the Netherlands. Look at him leading the cheerboard there with 1,500. Thank you very much, Avi. That's actually enough money for us to buy ourselves a beer with. So that's pretty cool. Bindi is barely here, so that means it's very early where Bindi is. China, Jackinto 980. China, USA. Awesome. We have peoples from around the world. So just to recap for myself as much as anything, we are trying to put some sort of basic questing functionality into this game. I'm going to turn the game sound down so that it doesn't blow your ears. It is down. So if anything's too loud or the sound's off, just let me know. You live on 3 hours sleep these days. That's impressive and possibly dangerous, but good luck with that. Leave a gap somewhere in the week to catch up maybe, right? As a suggestion. Okay, so what we've got is a very, very ugly dialogue above this dude's head. Rick will sort that out for us eventually. And then we also have the affordance that the cursor is changing when you click over it. And we're dumping all the dialogue that is associated with this NPC into just a text box here. And we're also registering quests here. So what I've said we're going to do in this stream is to set up the other side of the quest, because I still have no idea how these architectures are going to pan out. So the frog, the hardest thing, I keep moving through the hardest thing, right? The hardest thing next is, well, if we've got, that was very high pitch, let's try that again. If we've got a quest as defined by test quest, which does absolutely nothing yet, by the way, this piece of data literally says the name of the quest. We're going to need to be able to embellish this with behavior next, right? So what behavior should we give this test quest? Well, it says find the bridge. So I'm going to call it bridge quest. We want to make sure that these quest objects are stable through renames. I'm very keen that everything is stable through renames. Hello, KI or K1TT3NPL from the UK. Good to see you too. Awesome, you're welcome. You probably realize, guys, that we're in follower-only chat mode, so you do have to have been following for 10 minutes to talk in the chat. And I'm going to continue to warn everybody that at some random point in the future, when it feels the right time to do it, I will switch us to a subscriber-only chat situation, because we want to keep it the chat so that I can actually keep up with it and respond to it. But for now, not necessary. Yeah, the level's cool. You've got to thank Rick for that. Rick is awesome with that. Let me just turn off some gizmos. How do I turn off I can't turn them off all in one go, can I? It's a shame that I just don't give you a straight up turn off all gizmos. But anyway, yes, the level is quite pretty, and it's really cool. And it's because Rick has put a lot of time and love into it, and Mikey has put a lot of time and love into making the assets nice. But for now, we're focused on the system of the questing. So where am I in this level? Let's have a look. If I am here in the level and Horatio is there, I'd better set up for testing purposes a really simple quest trigger, which is just something like a location-based trigger. Let's just have go find the bridge. Well, it can even be simpler than that. Let's just leave this pen. Would it be worth going for a quest trigger that has two, like leave the pen by either way? Yeah, why don't I do that, actually? Just keep it a little bit more flexible. It's a bit more complicated, but there are two ways out of this pen that I'm in. We can go through this gap here, and it looks like the only other way out is over here. So why don't we see if we can have the quest. Firstly, just leave it by the main exit, and then soon after that, we'll have it, let's leave the pen by either exit. So I'll move Horatio. Sorry, Rick, for messing up your level design. I'm going to put down in the environment something that just indicates some sort of collider system here that says, hey, I'm going to detect when I leave this pen. I'm going to change the quest a little bit. It's just escape quest. Let's just call it escape quest. And the quest name is going to be escape the pen. Because I just want to keep everything local. I don't want anybody running around the level during the testing phases of this stuff. All right, so let's just go. We're in the meadows, right? This is the zone we're in, Rick's meadows zone. I love the way he zoned it all out. Rick is doing awesome things as is with this level, which is good. Let's go into the meadows. Go find Horatio. Was I in the meadows? Where's Horatio? Where's the player? I don't really know my way around this level at the moment. I think we are in the meadows, and I think that Horatio is in the meadows, but maybe I've got that wrong. No, we must be. Characters, NPCs. Oh, I see. We've got two separate zones. So yeah, Horatio is here in the meadows and we are all good. All right, fine. So we're in the meadows. Let's go and slam down in the meadows a new game object, an empty game object. I'm going to need to move it into the meadows area. So there, but not as a child. So that's going to be awkward. Let's pop it. I don't know if this drag is working, is it? No, awkward. Very awkward. Let's delete it and do it a different way. Let's just go here. It's just a lot of game objects. Okay, create an empty child. Let's call this escape detector, like so. So I'm going to put a game object somewhere around here. Where is it at the moment? Not in a very good place. So the best way for me to get it where I want it, I think, is to go and find the player, grab the player's transform, go and find my escape detector, which is there, and I'm just going to paste the... Oh, the problem with this transform is it's a rect transform. Why has that come up as a rect transform? Not sure. Let's try this again then. So in the meadows, I want to create an empty child, and it is still a rect transform. Interesting. And this is because Rick's organizing object, his zone 1 meadows, is for some reason a rect transform. Now that might be because he's using... leaving a billboard for himself or some information. The problem is that any sub-object that I create under here by default now will become a rect transform, which makes things a little bit awkward. So I am going to leave a note for Rick, I think, is probably the easiest thing to do here, and then just carry on. So I'm going to start getting Visual Studio opened. Better keep an eye on the chat. Hello from the chat. Still playing catch up with these streams. Will the changes be finding their way back to the Udemy courses? Temi. Yes, what I'm going to do, well, the current plan is what I'm going to do is create a part 2 course shortly. And after each stream, I'm going to summarize what we did into the stream into a more normal course format. It still won't be the exact course format of part 1 because we want to move faster than that. But yeah, we'll be summarizing it in there. Yes, all of the previous streams will be available initially on Twitch for 60 days, and then after that, they'll be archived over to YouTube. So the streams will be there, but there'll be a faster form destination via your Udemy course, because our main priority is making Udemy courses. Just as I keep saying, we spend so long not actually recording course content, but preparing to record course content, that we are now streaming the bit where we prepare to record the course content, because it's also super valuable. Anyway, let's get on with this detector thing. Let's create an empty child. Now I know what's going on. Exit detector. I'm going to change the rect transform. I'm going to remove the rect transform component, and then it will, as you noticed here, just default straight back to a transform component. Paste the component values in from the player. Now if I go to this game object, this leave detector, it'll be right where the player is. I move it across here, give it a name. It's really easy to not record those names. You have to hit return. Going to need to put a collider, box collider on here, like so. And then let's just scroll down and put this collider over this gap. So we have a snowball's chance in hell of detecting that we have left. So it doesn't really matter for these purposes how I do this. I just need something that the player is definitely going to bump into. And then I can go Z to choose. Is it Z? How do you do global, local? I've forgotten the keys now. Is it Z or X? X. Okay, X gives me local translation. And there you go. So we're not going to miss that, right? It's a bit of a, he's not going to not hit that thing. Awesome. If you, by the way, K1, TTNPL, if you don't have Amazon Prime and you can't connect it, you can always pay for a subscription, if and when you ever think it's necessary. But yeah, you need to get Amazon Prime, otherwise you'll miss season 4 of The Expanse, as Temi says there. Awesome. All right, so now I need to think about the behavior. I'm going to start off just with a very specific behavior script here. And it slightly pains me to have an escape quest asset here and a separate script that is going to be determining the behavior of the escape, which I'm going to put on this. I'm going really slowly, the escape detector, because I'm now trying to work out the architecture, and I'm trying to do it without drawing diagrams. I prefer to just explore it inside the engine, if possible. We'll draw a diagram if we really need to draw a diagram. So let me just have a think about that. Why have I gone for a scriptable object for the escape quest? So let's look at this quest config code for a minute. Inside dialogues and quests, we have quest config. What does this do for us at the moment? I think it just has a string. And it allows me to create quests, but you can't really create a quest in the engine just by doing this without also specifying behavior. So I may change this to a mono behavior, and then that's not going to work because we won't have any assets. I think we're going to need a separate script for every, as Sam's saying, for every single eventuality. I'll tell you what, for now, we won't worry about the neatness of it. I'm just going to get in and duplicate things for a second. I'm going to make a new script called escape quest. Okay? And we'll worry about how these things tie together when we've got 2 or 3 different quests and we start to see the pattern. So if you're not sure about architecture, you can just plow ahead, do stuff, make it work, and when the pattern emerges, start to factor out that pattern. So let's just do that. I have an escape quest script. Now let's go ahead and start to code up what that escape quest script is going to do. So the first thing escape quest is going to need to do is going to need to have an on collision enter message, and that's basically the way that this particular quest is going to work. Let's give myself a comment. What's this going to do? It's going to, no, I'm not. You know why? If I write a comment about what it's going to do, it's going to change as this code changes. So try and resist comments unless they are Y comments. So on collision enter, well, we don't type that, do we? Unless the IDE is going to help me with it. Void, oops. Otherwise, we need to cut and paste. On collision enter. Okay, cool. It does help us with it. And we're just going to print boom. So very, very simple, almost hardly worth doing, but it does prove that the collision filtering is set up. So I'm looking for the word boom in the console. So I move through this gap. And hopefully we get a boom. There's no reason we shouldn't get a boom. There you go. So that just proves that the script on this collision is receiving events and is going to the console. That's brilliant. So somehow we need now this escape quest behavior. It's certainly going to have to know that it is related to that same quest. That remember that Horatio is dealing out. So Horatio is here. He has a voice, which we've decided is a prerequisite to have a conversation and then to issue a quest. He issues the escape quest. There you go, quest squared if you like. And I'm pretty confident that this escape detector, as an absolute minimum, is going to have to know what a quest it's talking about. There's no, at the moment, the name is not enough, right? We need to bind it in a more meaningful way. And I'm not quite sure how it's going to work out. So it doesn't matter, let's just move forward. Serialized field, a quest, config, and then let's just say quest, config. All right, cool. So I'm going to go and tell this escape quest behavior. Remember, we're going to have a different piece, probably going to need a different piece of code for every quest because every quest has its own subtleties. If we do a lot of quests that involve getting to a certain place, we'll maybe factor that out. We're not there yet. So let's just tell it that this is the quest in question. Yeah, not quite sure how that's going to work out. That's normal, right? Let's just be honest about it. In the Udemy courses, we've already sussed all this out, and it's a different, faster track journey for you. But this is the behind the scenes as to how do you work it out? What's the mentality by which you need to move forward and work things out? So that's what I'm just doing here, just trying to work this out. So if we hit this box, what do we need to do? We need to somehow dequeue the quest or complete the quest. Now, the question would come for me is where is the question? Question. This is never going to get old, is it? Where is the quest stored? Well, we had this quest journal class in the last video, so which was a name that one of you guys suggested. I can't remember which one. Maybe it was Perceptual Lucidity. All right, so all we're doing so far when we add a quest is we are just putting it in a list. All right, so for now, let's just void complete quest, and we'll pass in the quest that we're completing, and we'll just do that. And then I think all I'll do for the moment is just clear the text box. Obviously later we're going to need to do things that are more clever than this, but for now we're just going to clear the text box. So this API to the quest journal, the thing that lists the quest, is simple, right? You pass in apart from I'm doing something wrong. No, I'm not. You pass in a quest to add to the list, and you complete quests. So cool. So what we want to happen is that when we hit this box, we just want to get rid of that quest at the top left of the screen. Simple as that. How am I going to do that? Well, I think it's pretty simple actually at the moment. We could just go ahead and say find object of type quest journal. This is one way of doing it. I've got a feeling we're going to use messaging later, delegate something else, dot complete quest, and then just pass in the quest config in question. Now, we don't have to pass this quest config around because at the moment, the quest journal doesn't even care. It's just emptying a text box. It's doing absolutely nothing, right? It's not even adding to the text box. It's not even plus equals at the moment. It's just overwriting the text box with its quest name. We could say plus equals, actually. We could have the quest name plus some \n or something, new line. All ugly. Obviously, this is not how it's going to work. So see if this works there. See if the flow works. Well, we're all about sharing our techniques because we're about teaching, not about making the games commercially, although that's slowly changing. Escape the pen. Okay, so boom, I escaped the pen. Woohoo! Sorry, that was very high-pitched. Woohoo, I escaped the pen. So escape the pen quest. Complete. All right, so I'll push that to the Stream 6 Git repo, which I put earlier in the chat, but as you guys can't get to the history of the chat, it would probably be remiss of me not to share that with you right now. Speaking of Cambridge, there's an active game dev scene here. Tuesday evenings, yeah, I really, good idea. I'm not really getting involved in the local scene, but I ought to. Maybe I'll hold an event here at my place sometime or something like that. Just time, family, etc. All right, so we are escaping the pen. Now, the second thought, and let's pre-commit here what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that this can happen from 2 different places. So add other pen exit as a completion condition. PLETION, that's completion condition. Okay, so what I want to make sure now is that our architecture is stable under the condition that we have 2 escape areas. So escape detector, I could just duplicate that, couldn't I? I could move it over to the other exit, which is really simple and easy. There, move this puppy over like so, rotate it round in local space, shrink it down. Well, I could. It would probably make more sense. It looks a bit silly like that. Be careful of negative scale. There's no point in going to negative scale in the Z if there's no reason to. It doesn't particularly matter, but it can in some instances, particularly when you involve rotations and things, you can end up really uber confused. So there's actually no reason why this won't also clear the quest at the moment, because it's going to have exactly the same behavior as the other one. I'd be very, very surprised if I go get Horatio Hornblower the III's quest, whatever his name is. Oi, apart from it's not responding to my click. I wonder what that's about. There you go. Escape the pen. Skibbity-bibbity-bibbity. Come on. It's because I've got this funny UI here. Do I need to make this ignore raycast? I think I do. I think that's going to annoy me horrendously. Let's just fix that up now. If we take the game canvas in 2D and I zoom in and I go find the element in question, which is the dialogue. Layer UI, let's just ignore raycast on that layer for the moment, okay? So that should mean I can actually click in that massive lump of UI on a screen. Otherwise, I've got half my screen is missing. Okay, so now can I click down here? Does appear not for whatever reason. That's interesting. Why would I not be able to do that when I've just put it on ignore raycast? Not sure. Something we need to sort out. I'm going to go just to the camera raycaster and make a note to do that without getting sidetracked or squirreled by it. So we need to do ensure can click through dialog box or close the dialog box. Okay, so there's a to do there. Uncheck raycast target, I think, in the element. Okay, let's have a look. Where is raycast target in the... Oh, there. Awesome. That might do it. Or not. It's really interesting, isn't it? Why am I lost all raycasting here? Shouldn't have killed everything. No, I don't think. I think that's a coincidence. Okay, let's have a look. Turn that off. Try again. Nice to find you finally here on Twitch. Yes, cool. I'm glad it's good to have me here. Slightly different feeling of stream tonight. Yeah, that's worked, that raycast target. Thank you very much for that, Male Ninja Max. That's cool. Of course, more Ninja, rather. That did clear the quest, but unfortunately this is stopping us moving through. Now, why is this one stopping us moving through and yet the other one isn't? That seems unlikely. They obviously need to be trigger colliders, and I didn't think of that. I didn't even test that. Okay, cool. So we'd better prefab this edge detector, I think. Oh, in this case, I'm just going to change both. There's only two of them. Box colliders is fine. They need to be triggers. Now, triggers will stop the physics happening, but it'll also stop my code working, which nobody spotted. I'm surprised none of you guys spotted that. I'm deeply upset that you didn't. I'm not really. On trigger enter. Now, you see whether it helps you with these things or not depends slightly on where in your code you are. So let's just try again. Void on trigger. No, it's got to be closer to compilation. How do I get on trigger enter? I either go to the docs. I'm not going to type it. I'm not going to guess how you spell on trigger enter, because if you do that with messages, it often goes wrong. Just try doing it up here. There you go. On trigger enter. And you get a slightly different signature here because you get a collider rather than a collision. So I'm just changing it from a trigger event to a collision event, which means that obviously we can pass through it. Let's go and see. Yeah, of course I figured it out. Simple rookie mistake there. So well done spotting it. So we get the escape the pen quest. We try and go out of here. We can go out. We can go out. Just test the other one. Really almost no point in testing this, but at least it gives you guys an opportunity to see the kind of process and the thinking. Also, it's important when you're coding to go at the speed you feel like going, right? If you're warming up into it, warm up into it. Don't rush. There you go. So the quest is getting cleared under two different conditions. NSEA Burn, just subscribe with Twitch Prime. You guys rock. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. So look, we did what we said we were going to do. Oops, I don't need to save. Did what we said we were going to do. So I'm just going to commit that and then think about what we do next. So there's not enough pressure on this architecture yet. What I don't like, okay, I'll tell you what, the least interesting thing right now, or the most irritating thing right now, is that you cannot clear the dialogue, right? You're talking to this dude, and Horatio dumps this dialogue in here, tells you to escape the pen, but when I walk away from him, excuse me, we want to clear the dialogue. I'm not sure if it wants to clear the moment I start walking necessarily, but I certainly want a way of clearing it. So let's think about that then. We don't have any dialogue handling class at the moment. We're going to need a class at some point, but I don't want to be spraying new classes all over the place. So I think I'm just going to put a little, well, it's a game design decision really. Do we put a little X? Do we assume that the moment we walk away from this guy that the dialogue gets cleared the moment that I start walking? That could be awkward if you accidentally click. Not sure. It could be timed. Okay, I think what I'm let me just check the chat. Came back from Unite. Big changes coming. Prefabs. Yeah, so there's going to be isolated prefab editor. That looks good. That sounds very much like Unite. Didn't we go to Unite last year in Amsterdam? I think we did. Prefabs and nested prefabs. That would be cool. Found out about the channel yesterday. Awesome, good news. Remove the dialog block based on radius and fading out. Yeah, we could. Fading's a good idea. Thank you for that. That's possible. We could use on-trigger exit for the voice. Yeah, lots of options coming in from the chat there. I mean, obviously, how to do it is one thing and is relatively simple. What to do is another. So this is where we set the dialogue and we give the quest on click. We haven't got any concept of radius on him yet. time is no good. I think the player wants to be in control. I quite like the idea that you break away from the dialogue when you move away from the person. I think that makes a bit of sense. So we've got to go and look at Horatio now and see what his deal is, right, in terms of colliders and stuff. 3D view into Horatio. Been a while since I've used Unity, so I'm a bit out of practice. Now, what sort of collision has Horatio got on him? More importantly, what do we have associated with the voice script? See, the trigger enter that you guys were mentioning is hey old grumpy gamer was used, of course, for these exit conditions of the pen, not for the dialogue. At the moment, the way the dialogue is initiated is purely based on the fact that I have clicked on the on this guy. I've raycasted through his mesh, and the cursor has changed to a dialogue. Probably ought to have some affordance that we're going to end the dialogue maybe. So if we start a dialogue like that, and then that just starts a dialogue from any distance, that's also a bit odd. I'm going to ask Rick whether he wants, when I click, do we want to move towards the guy first? So to do, Rick, move towards, then speak. We could always pathfind to the dude and then speak. Then it gets much more complicated, because then we've got to ask the question, is there a path there? So for instance, he could be the other side of the fence, but still too far away to speak, and it could come up and say, well, there's dialogue available, but I can't pathfind there. So that gets a lot more complicated. You've got to think, do you want to offer dialogue if there's no current pathfinding? Lots of possibilities. So the idea of creating a sphere collider when you start the dialogue is entirely possible. I think that is a reasonable idea. I think I'll factor this out for the moment and just say start a dialogue like this, which you do that. And then I think that spawning, we could spawn at runtime a sphere collider as necessary. And then the problem is that we've got to deal with this issue about, like, do I move there or not? You imagine he's this side of the fence, like there's no pathfinding to him. Does it offer a conversation? Or do we just say the screen's small enough we can have a conversation anywhere on this screen? With the camera angle and the zoom level we have, you can have a conversation across this screen even if you're shouting. So it would make life a lot simpler if we just said that. So therefore, one reasonable way to end the dialogue would be that this dude isn't on the screen anymore. How's that as an idea? I think that's probably the easiest thing, actually. So when you click, you start the dialogue, which does this, and you give a quest, which does that. At the moment, don't really need methods for these things. In fact, let's not pay lip service to that. We really don't need methods to these things. So let's reverse our decision on having methods, because it's too much extra overhead of code. Okay, that's fine, that's clear. Now I think that when he goes off the screen, yeah, you could say he can't hear you, exactly. You say just, though, and it is sort of just, but lots of other things to think about. Distance, is there anything in between? Buildings, is there a path available? So, boring. Okay, we need to know that we are in a quest state. We're in a dialogue state. At the moment, we don't know that we are speaking. So first thing it's tempting to reach for is a Boolean flag to say in conversation, yes, no. But before I do that, I want to know, is something else in here telling me that I'm obviously in conversation at the moment? And I don't think it is, actually. So it makes sense to me to have some state that says, okay, I'm in conversation. Let's go with that. It's a private instance variable. A state of the voice is Boolean in conversation. So is in conversation equals false. So we start off not in conversation. When we click and start a conversation here, we are going to just say is in conversation equals true. Don't really like binary Boolean flags, so we'll see how this pans out. Then what we need to do, I think, is think about detecting when we get off the screen. Now, what's the most sensible way of doing that? I think I'm going to need to do a Google search for this. Is on screen Unity. I think there is an on-screen function, but how does it work? So typically you do that sort of thing and then have a quick look through. Render is visible. Yeah, that's one of the ones I remember. On became visible. Render.is visible. Get component renderer. So we get the renderer of the guy. Is that going to work? Yes, probably. Where's Horatio? Here he is. He's got a voice. He's got a renderer on there. That might be what I'm after. On became invisible. Yep, it probably is on became invisible. I'm just trying to see where that is, where that lives. On became invisible. It's called when an object is no longer visible by any camera. That's reasonable. Message is sent to all scripts attached to the renderer. All scripts attached to the renderer. Okay, let's just try it. Let's just see when this message is called. So let's get Horatio. Let's go to his voice script, or the voice script. This is a message, so if it's a message, I'm going to, according to my my layout here, messages, then public methods, then private methods, I'm going to go messages first, and I'm just going to print. Became invisible. Whether that will just, we don't need a private on the start. I tend to put no protection modifier on the messages, and then private on my private functions, and then public on my public functions, just so they're at a glance obvious. So let's see what happens when this goes. And this would be one easy way. So there's Horatio, keeping an eye on the log. When Horatio is not being rendered by any camera, which is fine because we only have one camera at the moment. Not getting an on became invisible. Now, is that because we don't have a renderer? No, we must have a renderer on here. Somewhere we'll have a mesh renderer, otherwise he wouldn't be showing. It's at the same level in the transform. So what am I doing wrong? Why is Horatio not telling me that? Let's go look at the docs, see how they work. Message to send to all scripts attached to the renderer. What have we got? Mail Ninja Max is giving me a... Not sure what you're sharing there, but that's cool. Yeah, but this on became invisible should do the trick, right? So get component renderer. This is different. This is finding the renderer, but this is a message that should be called. Using Unity Engine and System Collections, void on became invisible. Do something. Okay, what have I done wrong here? Don't know, can't see it. All right, let's try again. Voice script is there. Move your scene camera. What do you mean perceptual lucidity? Move the scene camera. I only have, I believe, one camera here, which is the camera that is attached to the player via an arm. So if this is the only camera and I move the player such that that camera is no longer seeing Horatio, then I would have thought when Horatio goes off to the side of the screen here, he would become invisible, no? What am I missing there? Not sure what I'm missing there. I would have thought that would simply do it. It's quite nice and flexible if it did. You just don't show dialogue for people who aren't on the screen. Move the scene view. Really, the scene view? Ah, look, one became invisible. Somebody already told me that. Thank you very much. Medicus352. That might have just been that. Sure, it's got everything to do with camera culling, but... Oh, you bugger. I want to avoid the mess of going and finding renderers and all that. If we can just use an on became invisible, it would make more sense. So look, you're saying change the scene view so it doesn't show him. I maybe buy that. There's a camera here. We could just rotate this camera around manually. Still not triggering whatever we do. And I'm pretty confident there's only one camera. So let's just take a look. Let's do a Google. On became invisible. So let's use invisible this time. Not working. Very common query. Open the top three. Have a look around. See what we're doing. Top pars here. Trunk object. Render a component on the same object. I'm going to turn off this GUI layer thing, by the way, because it doesn't seem to be doing anything. I'm going to go back to Horatio for a minute. Go and have a little look and see whether I can't need a renderer component. That's just... you know what? It probably is as simple as that. That the way that Horatio is architected, he has down here... the renderer is not going to be until you get right inside there. I think skinned mesh renderer. That's probably the issue, that Horatio does not have a renderer at the top level. Okay, so if I put a mesh renderer here, but with nothing, which is a strange thing to do, but it'll allow me to test with no materials or anything else. Let's just see if that makes the difference. Programming while standing, yeah, I do appear to be. I'll be sitting down in a bit. It's black magic. No, that's not working, and I don't want to hack it by just sticking... Oh, didn't work anyway. Yes, it did. Mesh renderer. All right, let's do it a different way. Let's do it a different way. I can't see that scaling well either, to be honest. So, all right, look, got a problem. Let's work around the problem. What am I trying to achieve? What have I pre-committed? I haven't. Okay, so I don't even know what I'm trying to achieve. What I want to do is clear the dialog. Dialog box clears when conversation, or convo for Rick's sake, ends. Okay, that's what I'm trying to achieve, to remind myself of that. What other sensible ways? Yeah, exactly. So we don't want that. It's not nice. So MailChimp, I did want to look at your code. Yeah, that type of solution would be fine. You know, as an enemy on the screen. It seems like a lot of code for... It's nice and clear. It's got some magic numbers in it, but otherwise it's nice and clear. Several magic numbers. It seems like a lot of code for a simple job. And the thing is, at the moment, from a design point of view, is I don't even know if that's what Rick's going to want in terms of how we end the dialogue. So let's worry about the code architecture of it before we worry about how we do it. I basically need something, some way of saying that that conversation has ended, and I think I'm just going to time it for the moment. Let's not even bother with it became invisible. Why don't I just do myself a quick coroutine that just clears that conversation after a certain amount of time? So we don't even have to have an in-conversation state. I don't like that at the best of times. And what we could do is we start the dialogue, we add a quest, and then we schedule to clear that dialogue. So we could just go an IEnumerator. I'm not going to use invoke here. Void, and then it's going to be clear dialogue or expire dialogue. Like so. I think that's right. And then we're going to yield return new wait for seconds. So this is the magic sorcery stuff. This stuff's weird, isn't it? And then it's going to be, I don't know, not going to put a magic number in. Can't possibly do that after what I've said to you guys. So I'm going to put in a const, not a const, a serialized field probably. I'll do const for now. Const float dialogue lifetime equals, I don't know, 5.0 seconds. Dialogue lifetime. Okay, so let's wait for the dialogue lifetime. This will do for now. Till I have a conversation with Rick about how he wants it. IEnumerator void. Look at that. Can you return IEnumerator and void? That's fine. So then what I'm going to do here is start coroutine. And I like using coroutines rather than invoke because here it actually helps me. Expire dialogue, that's cool. So the first thing expire dialogue does is wait for a certain number of seconds. So it puts that on a queue. What's wrong with that? Do you need the brackets? Maybe you do need the brackets. It's been a while since I've written a coroutine. And then we're just going to take the dialog box.text, which is obviously getting old and going to need to be improved. Just gets blanked out like that. All right. Yeah, they are super useful. Use brackets. Thanks, BitGamey. You are awesome. Must be very frustrating for you guys watching me fumble around. Not on top form today. I was supposed to go horse riding with my daughter. I ended up sleeping in the car because I was knackered. Hey, look, it goes. That's cool. So have I achieved my intention? What was the intention? Dialogue clears when combo ends. Yeah, sort of. I mean, the combo's ended because of time, which Rick and I may decide is fine. It's less clicks if you don't have to clear a dialogue. Dialogues are kind of time-based anyway. If you don't get a chance to read it, well, I don't know, maybe that's okay. All right, so what's least interesting about this now? Don't know. I tell you what, let's chuck it out to you guys. What would you like to see us do next with this questing? Obviously, it's super daft system at the moment, just using strings in text boxes. But what would you like to see it do next? Yeah, okay, so Medicus352 is saying, what happens if you click on 2 NPCs with dialogue within a small amount of time? Would your dialogue be paired with a VO asset? What's a VO asset? I'm not sure what you mean by that. So at the moment, the structure is that Horatio here, our NPC of choice, has a conversation, which is super simple, which is Horatio's conversation. And then he also has a quest that's optional. If you hover over it, it'll say optional. I could say quest question mark, but I don't think you can name a field question mark. And then there's some references that we could probably find a better way. Oh, okay. Would your dialogue be paired with a voiceover asset? Could be. It could be. We're not, at the moment, we're not doing voice because it's a whole new kind of whoop-ass to be doing that. But yes, it could absolutely be paired with a voiceover. And in fact, you would just start to stick those probably in here. Yeah. Rick's funny with his voiceovers, so that would be cool. All right, I'm going to move to sitting. In fact, how long is this string? 40 minutes? Guys, we need a stretch session. It's okay, so stand by for a quick stretching session. This is not just for me, by the way, it's for you guys too, so let's all do it. 2 seconds. So, I'm going to move back a little bit. A few standard stretches. Reach up to the sky. Move your arms around. Please do this. Don't just sit on your chairs. We all need to move if we're gonna stay healthy coders. So a little bit of that seems to do me some good. The other reminder to keep the musculature of your shoulder sensible, that you don't get too crazy about your shoulder being forward all the time. The other thing is that people are quite liking this stretch where you put your hand down and out, horizontal like that, gently pull your hand back. Obviously not if you've got any injuries. I know I go very quiet when I move from that microphone. So, yeah, bit of a shake maybe, that can feel good. And then I'm going to grab a chair and sit down. And we'll crack on. Oh, see ya. Here it comes. I think Sam's going to rock up in a minute, by the way, which will be fun. He'll walk in the door behind me, which will be really cool. I may request a green tea. Let's see what we can do. So, did you guys stretch? Yes or no? Say in the chat, did you stretch? Okay, hope you did, because super good for your bodies. We're going to do any modeling, animation, probably not in this particular stream, but keep an eye on the events. Multiple streams in 1 week. What sorcery is this? More sorceries, Tasty Graph. Yep, we've streamed hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And the channel is growing really nicely, so it encourages me to carry on. You guys keep supporting us, keep subscribing, etc. Then we will keep doing it. The tier that we would love you to subscribe to is Tier 2 benefits. You know what? You can't format anything in the chat. Look at this. I type in this Twitch chat, all beautifully laid out, hit return, and it goes... yeah, I'm trying to stream nearly every day. All right, so I think that the suggestion is, what would happen if you click on 2 NPCs with dialogue within a small amount of time, Medicus? It would suck right now, and it would suck quite well. So why don't we go grab another NPC, like this dude here, move him into the pen, sorry, Rick, nerf his movement, boom, add a voiceover script, a voice script, create a new conversation for, who is this guy? Thug. So let's just make a new RPG convo. Let's try it. Let's see how it breaks. And then we'll make a pre-commit to say how we're going to, the first bit of fixing, and then we'll go from there. Oi, you, so he's a thug. He's going to start off by saying, I ain't a fug. Oi, I ain't a fug. How's that? I ain't a fug. And the player's going to go, sure, doesn't sound like it. Okay, fine. I ain't a fug. Sure, doesn't sound like it, mate. Awesome. So there we go. So that's going to be the fug's conversation. So it's called, name the conversation fug, F-U-G, I think, because I spell good, me. And then let's attach that fug conversation to him. Let's not worry about quests for the moment. Quests are optional. Let's just get the conversation bit working so that I can understand where I am in between 2 different conversations. Okay, now this fug, we've got another issue here. The fug ain't going to have a appropriate canvas or anything right now. So Horatio has had a bit of a custom enemy canvas put onto him. Now, where are we from the standpoint of these prefabs. Remembering that we can't have nested prefabs. So how on earth do we have an enemy canvas prefab on all of these guys? That's all very well. This doesn't make any sense. Yet we don't have nested prefabs, yet most of the people that they're on are prefabs. Not sure that's working. All right, well, it's only the second time, so for the second time, we'll just go and borrow Horatio's canvas. Then we'll have to then eat the frog of instantiating these enemy canvases and working out how to share this information between all these different prefabs, and wishing we had nested prefabs, and then, either waiting for Unity 2018.3, which is coming really soon, and getting into nested prefabs, or doing some other workaround with scriptable objects or something. So we'll get there with that. Anyway, where is Horatio's? Well, I can just ask Horatio here. Where is your enemy canvas? It's there. Where's your speech bubble? It's a prefab. Yeah, okay, it's coming back to me. I only wrote this code yesterday, but it's coming back to me. So let's go find the fug here. He already has an enemy canvas. Let's tell him that. And then he needs a speech bubble prefab. Well, that's cool. We've prefabbed the speech bubble. And then we're instantiating that at runtime. Good. That's how it works. So, going to take a quick look at the chat. I'm on a 3-week vacation at the moment, working on your game. Very nice, studying the Udemy courses. That's all cool. Why not use a preview for nested prefabs? Why not use the preview for nested prefabs? Oh, okay, I could. I'll just wait till it's stable. It's not going to be long now, is it? We're only 1 point version off. So off. I know it'd be fun to do that, but I think it'll slow me down. And it's not the main focus right now. The main focus is getting this questing working in a slightly more sensible way. I'm just going to move the fug to the side of Horatio. Yeah, so if I do this, no reference exception on Horatio now. Why am I getting that? That's interesting. Why is changing the other dude giving me a null reference exception? Always worth putting this pressure on things. So the thug. It'll be because we don't have the option to have no quest, I bet you. If I just temporarily give the thug the quest. Oi, thug. You know what? There's too many pieces of UI around here. I'm just going to move Horatio around. There's too many things that are capturing the editor raycast that mean that I can't click on anything. So that's better. Let's just turn this dude around. He can face me as well. Oops. Apart from I need to be looking at his top level. No-name thug, you. No-name thug, you. Let's move you over to here, and then now let's just give this thug a quest, just temporarily, just to prove that that's the problem. Really going to need to get some icons to differentiate quests from conversations, but not a problem. Play now, and we can click on him, and we get some black text, because for some reason, well, we haven't, oh, it's all gone black. Why is it all gone black? That's kind of interesting. Why is the text gone black, particularly the quest text? And another problem is that when I moved this dude, Horatio, because of what I was selected on, I didn't actually move Horatio. I moved his enemy canvas. So let's just put that back over here. And you need to be careful when you click on things. Now, what you can do about that is you can make things the selection base. So I thought we did this in the character. In the character class, you can go in and you can say scripts, character, selection base. I am saying selection base. So I would have thought that clicking on him would select Horatio. It does normally. I don't know why I ended up selecting Horatio's dialogue instead. Anyway, not mattering massively. So let's just check that this works. Yeah, it's all gone black. I have no idea why the font would have gone black, because this is in a totally different game object right up here on the dialogue and the quest, and both of their texts have gone black, and yet they're both listed as yellow text there. That's really interesting. Why? What's changed that would make the text go black? Nothing in code that does that. That is super strange. Doesn't matter massively, but I just can't read it. All my text gone black. Okay, I'm gonna just restart Unity. That feels buggy to me because I seriously haven't been anywhere near font colors right now. And if it isn't buggy behavior, then I need to dig in and work out what's going on here because there's some other crosstalk that I'm not aware of, which ain't good. Just checking my stream health over there. Oh, it's looking good. Good old Teradek. Now let's just see if this works. Anybody spot why my text gone black? Look at that. You close Unity, you reopen it, and it's gone yellow again. I mean, that's just a gut feel. I can't tell you how I knew that that was a bug. I don't know. Just knew it was a bug. I mean, I knew that I didn't touch anything to do with the font, so you got to love it. But just if you think something's a bug, and you're often right, then just trust your gut and deal with it. All right, so now we get to what happens when we click here, escape the pen twice. And if I click here, escape the pen. Right, that's quite understandable. Now, what we need, because there's got the quest on two different objects, if I now remove the quest from the new guy, because we want quest to be optional. So this is our micro sprint, right? It's like we just want to make quests optional. Make quests optional on second NPC. That's what we're trying to do here. Now, we're not getting a null reference exception. If I click on him, we do now get a null reference exception in quest journal 17, which is here. And then we are just assuming that we even have a quest config. So where's that been called from? Well, it'll be on the voice script, and I've clicked, and then I'm finding object of type. It's not the quest journal, it's the fact that we are, well, let's take it through. Quest config quest, we could call this quest config. Where do we use it? Quest, let's rename. What's going on with my rename? Nothing. Just used to a different IDE. Quest config. Okay. Where do we use quest config here? We are assuming when we click that there is a quest config. There isn't necessarily a quest config. So I'm going to separate this out now. We need to let's just do this. Let's take this out. I know I already extracted this and put it back, but who cares? So, show dialog. Fine, and then I'm going to take this out to a separate method because we're going to need to work out whether there is actually a quest. So trigger quest, if any, something like that. Not a brilliant method name. Now, when we go and try and add this quest config, we need to just say if quest, or I prefer to do it this way, if not quest config, then return. Why do I do that? Because it saves everything else being indented. If you were to say if quest config do this, then it would be all indented below. So we're saying if there's not a quest config, then just do nothing for now. Very simple protection. Isn't a good option, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so I'm not going to use this on became invisible. It's a good idea. What's wrong here? Object reference not set to an instance of an object. Not sure what that's on about. I think that might be a one-off. Yep, another weird one-off bug. Don't stress about it too much. Now this dude isn't unhappy. I ain't a fug, sure doesn't sound like it. And then I click on this guy. I ain't a fug, sure doesn't sound like it. That's interesting. That's interesting. Why am I getting the same conversation for both of these guys? Okay, well, let's find out where the crosstalk is there. So it's very typical to get kind of crosstalk like that when you start, right? Because that's the whole point. So there are different conversations. So it's going to be about instancing and object. I don't know exactly. We'll see in a second. We'll soon get to the bottom of it. So we're clicking on Horatio. Let's go and see. Follow the story through. So I click on him. It shows dialogue. Show dialogue goes here. It sets the dialogue text to the conversation.getConvo as string. What is the conversation? No, it should be Horatio's conversation. That is strange. That's not an expected crosstalk. So if I click on Horatio, I'm getting the wrong conversation. If I click on the thug, it's behaving exactly the same whether I click on Horatio or the thug. All right, something weird going on here. Let's just take a look. Have I got the right components in here? I think I have. Just going to collapse everything that's not relevant down. Just get this. Although Horatio does want to have the escape quest. I don't know why Horatio lost that. Sorry, Horatio, you lost your quest. You lost your purpose in life, giving us that quest. Okay, now let's click on the enemy. Let's try this. Now, I don't expect that to make any difference. I hope it doesn't make any difference because the code sucks if it does. We get the escape the pen quest, which we can clear. And now I can talk to the other NPC. And now he's giving me an escape the pen. Nice. Nice. Not really nasty crosstalk. So what's going on? When I call add quest from the voice, am I passing in the quest config? I am. Is the quest config... okay, so is this quest config going to be different at runtime for these two different instances? Let's take a look. Yes, exactly. Is it caching the voice? It shouldn't be caching the voice object, but it might be that the scriptable object is somehow being shared between the two of them. And I'm actually thinking about it, remembering Unity a little bit, I think this is expected, but let's have a look. So all this other new stuff has come in at runtime. The voice script has a Horatio conversation and an escape quest. That's good. Now let's go look at the other dude at runtime and inspect him. No, it's not. It's got the FUG conversation links is the right thing. Should link into the FUG conversation. Yep. No quest, and Horatio has a Horatio conversation and the escape quest. Dude, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to reboot Unity again. If it works after a reboot, then I'm really upset with this particular build. So let's just try. We love our Mac beach balls. And we'll be upset. If it does work after this, I'm going to see if there's an update to the editor, because that's two seemingly independent bugs. Escape the pen. No, it's not. It's still cross-talking. Escape the pen. Right. I mean, obviously starting, this is likely to happen in the beginning, but why now when I've explored it? I have a voice. You have these things. There's a player instance. Where it's grabbing the voice object. Let's just go search my code base for voice. Oh, on mouse over voice. I think it's probably as early as this. There's a delegate that says on mouse over void in the camera raycaster, right? And then when I raycast for voice, I go out and, oh, look at this. Game object hit.get component voice. No, it should be the right thing. Okay, look, we better start looking at this. We'd better say print voice hit. Oops. Dot. Just print voice hit. Let's see what it does, because often that'll just convert that into a somewhat meaningful string. I think it's just right in the raycasting bit that we're not passing the right instances around, so it doesn't know whose voice to talk to. I think you're right, Mall Ninja. So when I click here, we get no name thug voice lots of times, depressing number of times, and then when I click this guy, I'm getting the NPC voice a depressing number of times. I thought we'd latch this so that we don't call on mouse over voice so many times. Well, that'll be on the mouse over, so let's just recheck. It won't be when I click. We had latched it in terms of on mouse button down. Yeah, on the mouse over is normal. So if I just collapse this, we can see that on the left here, we're logging into NPC1, and on the right, we're logging into no name thug. So that's okay. So we then call on mouse over voice. I'm not going to filter per Avi's suggestion. I'm not going to filter for mouse clicks there. So where does on mouse over voice get received? in the voice. On-click voice, voice. We're not doing anything with this voice. Let's just print the voice from here as received and just see what happens when we click now. Make sure we're differentiating between the two when we click. Am I in Unity 2018.2? Yeah, check the top of the screen, 2018.2.0 beta 2, etc. Might be a dodgy version. It's okay. It's bound to be passing the right thing through. Yep, so we're getting the right game object. Okay, so we are doing the same thing though, regardless of... So where's this voice instance? The voice instance is on... Okay, what's happening is both of these dudes with these voice instances are receiving this message. And the first one to process it is the one that does it. Okay, so what we're doing is we're going on mouse over voice. It's broadcasting out to all voice, all things that have a voice are registering themselves for mouse clicks. For this on mouse over voice event, and then the on click event is being called on both game objects, but that's not what the log said. Print name, just game object name plus receiving. Let's take a look. I think both game objects are receiving the event, but let's just take a look. I think this might be Sam. Oh no, it's my wife.
Sorry, disappointing, I know.
Yeah, the on-click voice parameter is never used, I agree. There you go. It is exactly what I said, though. You see, look, if I then log where I've logged, Horatio and the no-name thug are receiving. Okay, so the camera raycaster raycasts over something that has a voice component. It fires off an on-mouse over voice event. Both of these guys receive it, and it's just a race for the first one to process it. So exactly as Avi's saying, we are not, because we didn't need to, we're not yet saying, okay, but am I the person who should be responding to this? So, you know what? This on-click is the wrong method name apart from anything. Look, you can see it's wrong here. On mouse over voice should just be, the method should be called on mouse over voice. Any voice. Let's call it that, on mouse over any voice. Then we ask the question, okay, the mouse was over the voice, but did I click the button? Fine, but we're not also saying, or we could just do it this way around. We could say if not voice.gameObject equals gameObject, then return. So, and then the intention behind this is only tune into my, tune into clicks on me, or filter for self is what we're doing there. Okay, let's try it. Is this live or just a replay? No, Darkside Slade 1, this is live. So I'm trying all sorts of times a day and getting feedback, and then we'll get into some sort of more not equals would be cleaner. Cleaner? What would be cleaner? Oh, yes. Yeah. Not equals would be cleaner. I'm not even going to let that slide. Thank you. If the voice game object isn't this game object, then we blah, blah, blah. And I'm not sure this is the best architecture because, we're sending messages around all over the place when they don't necessarily need to know, and maybe there's a better way of wiring it up, and maybe the performance profiler will tell us that later. But look, let's just get it working. Constantly just get it working and improve. Okay. So why you old duffer, yada yada, and then I click on him and we get I ain't a thug, sure doesn't sound like a thug, and I've still got the escape the pen quest, and then it expires, and then I escape the pen, and then we're all good. Wickle sticks. So the lesson there is, obviously when you start broadcasting messages, everything's going to receive it in its first to the post in order to process it, and then you're in trouble. So make quest optional on second NPC. They are. We protected against quests, the quest object not being set, and we just, for the moment, do nothing. Let's just see what the changes were in that that segment after all. So in the camera raycaster, I just removed a comment. In the voice, we did a rename, a couple of renames because this actually wasn't an on-click event. It was an on-mouse over event, and then we ignored messages that aren't about ourselves, which suggests that messaging or broadcasting using delegates like this is the wrong architecture. But we'll see as we get more objects. Yeah, and then blah-de-blah. Okay, so what's least interesting now, guys? I'd be most interested to hear. I'm most interested to hear what's least interesting, which would be pretty cool. Remember that Part 1 course is on Udemy. If you want to catch up with it, then it is Udemy RPG is the link that you're going to need. Do go catch up with that course if you haven't already. So, yeah. Yeah, no, it is. It is a mismatch between using the event and not, but it does feel like it's the right thing to do to... where does it feel right? It feels right in the camera raycaster. It's the pattern of the camera raycaster to do that. You see, it fits the pattern there, and you mouse over voice. The problem is that all these voice guys are receiving, and they don't necessarily need to know a given voice. You know, an NPC with a voice doesn't need to receive an event for everybody else. So either go full event or not at all. Either use the voice object in nested methods. I think I know what you mean there. Sure, but you see, this is fine. We'll go down a little blind alley, and then when I get to a better architecture, I'll change it around, and then in the Udemy course, we may or may not take you down that blind alley. What I've got to decide is how many of these prototyping videos I do before I start recording the Udemy stuff, and how many of the corners we cut off versus leaving in the full journey. So that's going to be fun. All right. So from a actual functionality point of view, what's least interesting now is we can stick a voice on anybody, we can click on them, they can say something. The conversation sucks because it's all in one lump, but it's okay, it's doing the job for short conversations. You can optionally issue a quest. Why don't we go for a second quest and having two simultaneous quests? Is this a good direction to go in? Because you've got to make sure you keep going in the direction of stuff that's most important for the game. The game potentially could live with just a single quest focus at a time. That would still have questing in it. I think that the thing that is least flexible right now is that we don't know what's going to happen when we have a second type of quest, right? We have only this escape quest. It's pretty ugly because we have both a method called escape quest and a scriptable object called escape quest. The scriptable object called escape quest doesn't really have any data. It doesn't have anything useful in it apart from a bit of data. So you know what I'm going to do next? I'm going to eliminate the scriptable object for the escape quest. I don't think quests are going to be so data heavy that they're going to need both a class and a escape quest, a scriptable object. I think that was premature separation. What I should have done, and what's a good way to start, is to just, you want a whole bunch of serialized fields at the top of a class, like potentially this, maybe this, but not just like one before you start using a config. You want to have a whole bunch, think, okay, there's a bunch of different ways of specializing this, very much like the weapon. If we take a weapon system like this, then previously the weapon system would have had where's the weapon config gone? It will be, we decided to put it in here. Okay, the weapon system would have had all this stuff, which is how weapons differ. And there's a load of parameters, and different weapons have different sets of parameters. So that's when it's a very good idea in, say, the weapon system to say, okay, well, the current weapon config, is that all this data is somewhere else. And then you have like a pure data class. But we've gone too early on this with the quest stuff, and I think it's very confusing for people to follow. So I think my next micro commit is going to be to eliminate the escape quest scriptable object and focus purely on a class, unless anybody thinks that's daft. So eliminate quest SOs for simplicity. Let's do that. So how do we eliminate the scriptable object? Well, I don't know. We'll find out, won't we, in a minute. So the escape quest, instead of it having a quest config, it just needs all the information that a quest config has, which is not much information, is a quest name. So let's just do that. Boom. All right, now I'm just going to delete quest config. I know we're going to have a failed code, but I'll soon smoke out all the calls to get quest name because the code will just fail. So let's go delete quest config now altogether. So the escape quest itself, although just for fun, I'm going to delete the quest config class first, and then see what happens to escape quest. It should, missing monoscript. You can't even reselect one. This guy is effectively useless now. Okay, now we're getting an error, which you'd expect, which is that on quest journal line 15, things are going to break. So let's go find that. The quest journal no longer can take in a quest config. So, ooh, that's okay. It's going to need a quest. Hold on, what are my types? I've lost track of my types. Escape quest. We're going to need to genericize that. So this shifts the problem around a little bit. The quest config allowed me to differentiate between different quests, but now if I'm going to have a different class for every quest, then escape quest, there's nothing about escape quest that tells me that it is a quest. So I might want to make a superclass called quest and inherit escape quest from it. That's interesting. Yeah, I think we're going to try inheritance. So let's just fast and loose. Let's try inheritance. So I'm going to make a because an escape quest is a quest, right? I'm going to make a class called quest. My name that I was, not here. The name that I was crying out for, I'm going to put in the superclass. So quest becomes from a mono behavior. It has a string name. I think that's in my coffee buffer. That's probably, maybe I need some more coffee buffer. Copy buffer right now, which it is. Quest. There we go. Paste that in. Quest name. Awesome. So that all quests have a string quest name like that is what we're doing. And then we're going to say that an escape quest is a quest. Like so. This is going to mess everything up. It's going to be an interesting refactor. Then on trigger enter, we complete the quest myself. I'm going to send myself through. Hold on. Into the dark alley. Confusing now. Where are we? Reload everything from the disk. This is my multiple versions of Visual Studio thing driving me nuts. Let me just close some Visual Studios. Let's just let it get messy. You know, sometimes this feels like this might all just go wrong, and I might not get there, and it doesn't matter because this is the point of keeping safety. Commits, keeping recent commits. If this whole intention goes wrong, we start touching too many files, we can't get back to compilation in a reasonable amount of time. Doesn't matter. Just ditch it. Just throw it away, stash it, and start again. Am I at the point where I'm going to do that? Not quite. I'm going to keep trying, but I'm expecting to fail here, which is okay. So the escape quest is a quest. It has a quest name. Let's call these quest completions without any parameters and then put the parameters in a bit. So let's just go down to the generic for a second. Quest as a superclass is a good approach. I think it probably is. So let's just add some random quest has been added. Let's just do that. Some random quest added. So we don't need to care about what data we're passing around for the moment. So both complete quest and add quest are not going to have any information. We've taken a step back, obviously. Let's put a to-do in, which is that we need to do get actual quest name or description here. Fine, we'll do that in a bit. Escape quest is a quest, but we just call completed quest. Good. Okay, now where's it not compiling? So simplify your way out. Don't try and do too much in one go, right? Now let's go and see. The namespace quest config in voice 14 can't be found. Not surprising, does not exist anymore, and that's because a quest is no longer a quest config, but it is a quest. And let's just rename quest config quest behavior, or just quest, because it's both data and behavior. Now let's see what that does. If we're compiling, then Horatio here will now have a voice, but he will want a quest, not quest config. And it's not compiling, so we need to get it compiling. And it's the line 53 is preventing compilation, which is where add quest no longer needs a parameter. Let's just get it compiling, see what comes up in here, and we're up. Yeah, you go. So now Horatio wants a quest, right? But we don't have, oh, what's wrong here? Serial, same field name is used multiple times. This is not supported. The same field name is used multiple times. So the only place that can be happening is inside the escape quest. And that's because as I was talking, I put the field name, the name of the quest in both the superclass and the child class. So I just need to clear that up. All right. Awesome. Yep. Look, there's an echo in here, Alan. Just as I was saying it, you were saying it. Thank you for your help. It's awesome to have you guys here, keeping an eye on my back. The serialized field is the same in the parent, and pretty sure it's not now. pretty sure it's not now. Maybe that's just a hangover. Let's see. Oh, Unity, you shit me up. Excuse my German. It's giving me these problems. Okay, so giving me an error when there wasn't an error. Blah, 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 blah. What am I doing? Okay, so what's happening hopefully now, is that we're asked inheritance, right? If you're new to inheritance, this is a bit odd. It's asking for a quest, but I should better give it an escape quest, because an escape quest is a quest, right? Let's see. That's how specific it is. Ooh, no, we can't. Why not? So we're asking for a quest. An escape quest is a quest. Is escape quest? Maybe it doesn't work like that. Maybe Unity only wants us to give you the exact type, which will be interesting. So an escape quest is a quest, or it inherits from quest. Quest inherits from mono behavior. I'm going to have a problem here anyway, because where is my quest string name? Where's the instance that's going to hold that quest name? It does not exist, right? How long before the scriptable object comes back? Cough, cough, Godot. Shut up, Jan. No, the scriptable object's not coming back right now. It could come back and have the behavior in it. Why can't we have the behavior in the scriptable object? Because let's look at the inheritance here. So maybe we can find a Google image. Unity, scriptable object, and then mono behavior, and then tree. Maybe somebody will give me the inheritance tree. Let's see what we lose. Is it going to show me here, or am I going to have to go map it out myself? I'm going to have to map it out myself. I think scriptable object comes pretty much straight off object. Unity, scriptable object. So we're not going to have the required stuff up the inheritance tree to do much with a scriptable object. But let's just go and have a look. Scriptable object inherits from object, which is right at the top. So therefore, we're going to be missing component and behavior and all that stuff. So that's not going to work. So the problem is really not just that I can't select the quest because, because there's no asset here. There's no instance, right? We now just have a quest class, and it's no good the quest class having a quest name because there is no instance. So either we need to instantiate the quest into the world, the quests into the world, which actually isn't necessarily a bad idea. It's not a terrible idea, I don't think, to have the quests instantiated. Let's try this. Play with this, just like play and learn. It's fine. So I could take the quests, and then I could put a sub-object to that. And then I could call it, doesn't matter, just game object quest 1. All right, and what we could do is we could put a escape quest on that, and then give it a quest name, which is escape. A pen, right? So we could instantiate quests, and this could actually become our queue. This is weird. Yes, the streams are archived. Narkid? I'm going to say Narkid89. Yeah, for 60 days, and then this series will be going to YouTube as well. So I could instantiate this dude. So now we have an instance, which gives us a fighting chance. Now I could say to Horatio, although we'd need to deal with the runtime instantiation, I could say, hey, you need a quest, go get that. There you go, which is you're asking for something of type quest, you're getting something of a type escape quest, which is itself of type quest. So now we've got instantiation. What do you guys think about having an actual quest being actual game objects of type, well, they'll all be different types, subtypes, but they'll all be ultimately of type quest. Yeah, SOs are to differentiate data, and you can't in a scriptable object do much in terms of behavior because they don't inherit from behavior, they don't, etc., etc. So, all right, so in the meanwhile, back at the ranch, how are we doing? Yeah, willing to try it, I'm willing to try it. Set some random quest. NPC says, I ain't a fug. Look at that. I mean, obviously we need to get this quest name, but it should be easy in a minute. I'm trying to use WSAD. Yeah, I'm an anything that works kind of a dev. I'm sort of an anything that works initially, and then it needs to end up beautiful and refactored. But I like the messy bit where you try lots of different things, because I would have never come up with this. If I just sat here pontificating for ages, we'd never come up with this. Now, this might suck, but it might not. It might actually be really useful for the designer. Think about the designer interface, a huge part of this, right? And the power here is in Rick's ability to design an awesome game. If he's playing the game and we're instantiating quests in like this into the world, and he can pause the game at runtime and go to the quests object and look at all the active quests and what state they're at. How cool is that from a debugging point of view? Yeah, that's really potentially really cool. You could have the stage of the quest, you could have who issued it, you could have all this stuff in these instantiated objects in a list. So, and the order in the hierarchy could even be the order the quests are accepted. There's lots of possibilities that this is good. It may also suck, but let's, I think I'm going to commit this. So eliminate quest SOs for simplicity. That's cool. Now what we need to do is we need to get the quest name through from this instantiated object. Of course, we'll deal with how we instantiate quests into the hierarchy later. If we go down this route, well, you'll see. So what we need to do is get quest name back. So we lost the quest name, right? How did we lose the quest name? Because I got scared of working out, of opening Blender when I don't need to be. I got scared of trying to pass things through and work out what was going on when I was trying to focus on a refactor. So somewhere we lost the quest name, must be in the quest journal. When we add a quest, it can't possibly know. Now we could just add a quest as, no, it's a quest, come on. It's just a quest. You can't possibly pass anything else through to add quest apart from a quest. Same with complete quest. So now we go and eke out the calls to these things. One way to do that is to just do a find all. And then it's in voice where we add a quest. Now we need to know the quest. Does the voice know the quest? It does. So it's the quest. That's cool. And then when you're going to get rid of a quest, which we could, where do we get rid of the quest? We don't seem to ever clear the quest. So let's just go find it. What's it called? Remove quest. Quest journal, let's go do a search for complete quest, find that in the whole solution. It's in the escape quest script. Now the escape quest, that's interesting. Yes, that's okay. Escape quest inherits from quest and quest knows what it is. So how do I get here the instance of the superclass? There is no instance of the superclass. Oh, this is confusing. What is the quest here? If I'm going to say complete quest, well, to be honest, for the moment, actually, it doesn't matter anyway, because we don't need to know the quest when we complete the class. So one thing at a time while you guys think about that. Let's just add a quest and make sure that the name comes through. And then we'll worry about completing the quest and what the instance is and stuff. Add quest takes 0 arguments in voice 53. I thought I'd done it. Oh, I hadn't saved it. Little circle. Tackle one thing at a time, right? We'd set some random quest added. That didn't work. And that's probably because I never asked it to work, really. Because in the quest journal, what we never did is sed plus equals, or just equals quest dot string. Now, we're not just going to provide a simple getter on there, a public method. It's not public. We're going to use a get quest. So it's going to be public. It's going to return a string for the moment. Get quest as string, something like that is quite meaningful, and it's just going to return the quest name. So that means that all quests, this is starting to become the common behavior for all quests. We could just say that. So common data and behavior for all quests. Okay, cool. So we're just going to return the quest name. And then we should be back to the point where we can, provided that I do it right, that we can actually do this, get name as string. Oi, quest dot, is it not compiled yet? Hello, what's the problem? Did I save it? Get quest as string. Yep, I'm just looking for the wrong thing. Get quest as string. Boom. Oh, okay. I'm pretty confident now that we will be on our way. And have we simplified things? I don't know. We'll do one of those wacky diff stat things in a minute. Escape the pen. And do we clear it? We will do. Okay. Now, let's have a look. Let's commit this because it works. Get quest name back. We did. Wickles. Now, let's do a diff stat thingamajiggamajig, which is where we say eliminate SOs. So from this commit to this commit, what have we done? Well, what I like to do is I go copy, SHA, I go to terminal, I have a text expander. Text expander is a really cool tool. Let me link you to that. Text expander. It's Mac and PC. You can even sync between different people. Is that what we use? If I recommend the wrong tool, yes, it is. So here's text expander. No, you don't want to be sent to their privacy policy. It's a bit ridiculous. Okay. They're taking GDPR or something seriously. Text expansion tool. Boom. It goes there. So there's text expander, the text expansion tool. Very useful. So with the SHA of the comparison I want to make, i.e. this guy down here, to in the clipboard, I can go diffstat, and it's a clever little text expander thing, apart from I've got the wrong thing in the copy buffer now. Oh dear. So what you have to have is you have to have the SHA in the copy buffer. Another useful tool is this thing here, which is the clipboard manager. Lets you have multiple things in your clipboard. Boom, like that. And it says git diff stat blah, and I do that, and it combobulates away, and it says that in the process of eliminating SOs, I have basically had net one added line of code. I've eliminated quest config CS altogether. The escape quest has actually become shorter. That's interesting. How did the escape quest get simpler? It's good that it did. It got simpler because... Nah, not much really. It's mainly white space. The quest.cs is a whole new thing. That's superclass. Yeah, and everything else didn't change too much. All right, so overall, we've neither added nor removed any code, but which is kind of good. You know, it's no more simple, no more complicated. But in the editor, in terms of people following this, it's a lot easier, right? Because we have a conversation, an escape quest, a fug, Horatio. These are just conversations now. We don't have two types of scriptable objects. We have a quest superclass, which holds all the common stuff, as it said, common data and behavior for quests. We have a quest journal, which manages the quest journal, and so on. All right, so we're making progress. Wish that was available right in ST. What do you wish was available right in ST, Mail? More Ninja Max. And what's ST? Sorry, source tree. You wish that you could do that kind of diffstatty widget thing straight in source tree, and yeah, you kind of can, but it doesn't give you the summary unless I know somehow. But look, it's super simple now. It's super simple to do that. And we can do much longer. We can say, what kind of progress have I made since I've been streaming? So from the head, which is basically nothing's changed really, down to when did we start streaming this down here, we can just grab that SHA, go here, diff stat, boom. And it says that since I've been streaming, I've added 178 lines, deleted 8, and touched 9 files. So written 170 lines of code since we started streaming. Good, we're making progress. That's nice. Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? I like that. Diffstat, awesome thing. I can show you the text expander. No, I probably can't safely on a stream show you the text expander expansion, but I can do it a different way. Bear with me just a second. I'll do it on my other computer. So this is what you need inside text expander. I'll give you the recipe from my other computer. So text expander recipe is that. So git diff minus stat, and then %clipboard puts the clipboard in. So that's how I'm managing to do that. Okay, back to the Twitch inspector on there, so that if it drops anything, then we're good. Gobble this green tea. I need a break for a second. I mean, I need to move, right? So I'm gonna get a burb up. And I'm going to leave the game running. I think text edit. BRB. Be right back. That's a text expansion I really ought to add, isn't it? Bigger. Okay, let's just do this then. Right, so I'm going to go for a break for a few minutes. I'm going to go on the trampoline, I think. You could watch me on the trampoline. It's quite fun watching me trying to kill myself, finding out whether I get back, but it's not super easy for me to set up right now because you won't be able to hear anything on a mic, and I'd have to stop the stream and start again. I guess I could, but I'll come up with some way of holding the camera. I'll get Pete to hold the camera when he's back next week. So I'll be right back in a moment. We're making some progress, some quite nice progress. We're creating some really disgusting architecture right now, especially around those events. But that's fine because it doesn't need to be any less disgusting yet. Okay, it needs to be less disgusting when we want to try and build on it. Or when we don't understand what's going on. It's not too bad. The code is clean, but the architecture is dirty. So that's quite an interesting thing to observe. All right, I'm going to play the game, leave some sound on for a second. I'll turn the volume up a little bit. Leave a burb on my face. And I'll even, actually, as I've got trousers on this time, I'll even leave the burb somewhere else so that you can see when I come back into the room. So I'll leave the burb here. Be right back there. Leave the game running with some sound, and I will be right back. 5 minutes, 10 minutes maybe, something like that. Is there any audio? Can you just guys tell me if there's any audio? There should be. Unity Hub, routing its audio to the default output. I can't hear it, that's very strange. Can you guys hear the game audio? You can. Oh, okay. All right. Is the volume all right for a burb? Good on audio. Okay, cool. I'll leave it and I'll be back soon. Should move somewhere where there's some action going on, I think. No, I'll leave it here. This is representative of what we're working on.
Well, met friend, I say, you're on the right path
Cool.
to the village.
You clicked off the game window. Ah, look at me. I messed it all up, didn't I? Okay. So, sorry about that. Clicking off the game window. Where are we? Teravice is with us. Hey, Teravice. Good to see you. Prefer to breaks to be in. If someone watching the VOD, they can always scroll forward. It's easy to tell when the break ends. Might be wrong, but during the Udemy courses, do you use different source control? We do in some of them use GitCrack, and I got a bit fed up with it. I like source tree. I'm going to try an experiment, guys, I'm afraid, just briefly, for no particular reason. I just like pushing things and trying. I'm on the app, the Twitch app on the phone. I'm going to go live on here and see what happens, all right? It should just say you can't, but I'm going to try it. I may turn this stream off, but I won't go anywhere. So this is not an in real life. This is a, yeah, I guess it's an in real life. It's just testing. Probably won't let me do this. Rotate my phone. 3, 2, 1. What happens to the stream? Let's see. So there I am, testing into GameDev.tv. What does our stream look like now? Oh, it kind of bounced. Let me just try it once more. Start stream. It should bounce. I want to make sure I can't hijack the stream. Yeah, it comes up and then says I'm live on the mobile. Looks like I'm live on the mobile. It's kind of looking like and then it just goes away. All right, cool. That's good to know. So if I want to transfer to mobile at any point, then that's not the way to do it. So guys, talk me through this for a second. Why shouldn't I end the stream? I'm a bit worried that the VOD, the video on demand, is going to become too big. Why would I not just end the stream and restart it? Does that not make it easier for people to find it? Should I could give the next stream a slightly more clear name. Videos don't become unmanageably long. What's the disadvantage of me just stopping the stream and coming back on in a few minutes under a different stream, slightly different stream name? Do we lose people? I mean, it just goes off and comes back. Is there a real need? No, I just want the video history to be like if you're on this page, if you're on GameDev, this thing here, and you go to videos and you start to see something that's absolutely huge in terms of time, I wonder if people are going to watch it. You know, this if I carry on now, this stream's going to end up 3 hours long. Are people going to go and look through a 3 hour, and can they even find in that 3 hour stream? Can they even find where the break is? I mean, maybe if somebody puts I think I have to put the highlight in. But okay, if you're saying a lot of streamers go for 6-7 hours, then fine. You know, what I'm hearing, I'm listening to you guys. I'm hearing from you guys is keep streaming. It's fine. Leave it on. If I want to change format to a different thing like the phone, obviously I can't do that without breaking and restarting the stream, which is fine. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, get a little bit of chat in our Slack now about people saying, should we change the channel to mature? I don't think I swear enough for it to need to be mature. I'd rather just not swear. Same discussion as we had last night. Okay, let's get back in the seat. Most viewers will just continue on the next stream. Yeah, I don't see any particular dark side. Thanks for that dark side or downside. Anyway, let's not talk about whether I start or stop the stream all day. That could be the most boring stream ever. Maybe a separate break screen and switch to that. Pretty easy to find the breaks. Yeah, I could make up a break screen, couldn't I? A nice break screen. Let's put that on my list. Yeah, or we could just stop it. It's pretty easy to find the next one in the VODs. Lots of options. Anyway, let's get some RPG behavior created. So I think the most architecturally awkward thing now is that well, I'm tempted to say that we can't support multiple quests, but we don't know that we want to support multiple quests necessarily at the moment. What's certainly not working for me is the fact that this quest 1 has had to be automatically instantiated or pre-instantiated because this is the only place that the escape the pen information exists. Maybe it's fine that they're all there. Maybe all the possible quests in the game are here. Maybe that is fine. That probably is fine. Let's try taking a second quest now, quest 2. It's a bit weird, but okay, whatever. And let's have a new quest which is called Speak to Bob. Okay, now let's see how well we scale in the direction of a second quest somewhere. Let's make this my next objective. So add ability or add second quest to game. That's it, simply add a second quest. So I'm going to try just putting it in the inspector here. Quest name, speak to Bob. So the data about the quest exists in this scene, which, ooh. So we have to, that's me stopping and thinking, in this scene. Worth spelling that out to yourself. This architecture is only, well, we can use a don't destroy unload, but it's only going to work in a given scene unless we are careful. So to do, consider persistence, if that's how you spell it, across scene loads. And then we can have quests that do and quests that don't persist, etc. Okie dokie. So we have a second quest in the world, in this scene. It won't persist at the moment. It's called Speak to Bob. And who's going to give me that? Well, it would make sense that the Fug give me that, I think. Let's get the Fug to give me a Speak to Bob quest. So, Mr. Fug, we are going to have a new quest. Let's do it. It's a new C# script. It's called Bob Quest. I like the name of that, Bob Quest. It kind of rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Sort of. And let's go find Bob Quest. Hello, Bob Quest script. Now, you inherit from Quest, which straight away gives you a quest string, which is going to get from the instance. And are we starting to get to the point where we have any virtual methods, anything we must implement? Probably not. Get quest as string. So what did the escape quest do? Well, it does something very specific. Let's get the Bob quest to do something else very specific. So, well, it has no behavior yet. That's okay. Let's just get issued the Bob quest, right? So I think we already will be issued the Bob quest. I think, oh no, apart from, not quite. Nearly. Hold your horses, Ben. Click on the thug. Give it Bob quest as a class, which is quite interesting. You're going to have to select it this way. Oh no, not as a class, of course not. You're going to have quest 2. Really like quest 2 and Bob quest. I think we're going to, I don't like having this in two places. Quest 1, quest 2, escape the pen, I think it's all right. This is a way of designing the story, right? You can even use hierarchy here to design the order in which the quests are laid out. I don't really like having to have a quest name, though. So this is up to Rick, really. Do we want to have quest 1, quest 2? Is that meaningful? I think it isn't meaningful. I think that Escape the Pen could just be the game object name if we go down this route. So I'm not going to do it now. Talk to Rick about it, but potentially where we go from the journal, get quest as string, so it's off the quest. I'm going to potentially, so to do, consider using the game object, small g, name, so that then you don't have quest 1, quest 2, you just have, this is just literally the game object is called Speak to Bob. It's under quest, it's called Speak to Bob. Then we don't even need a field here, right? You just take it off the game object name. Just a thunk, just a thought. So the Bob quest does nothing, but if we have quest 2 and the Fug has quest 2, I think that the Fug will issue us a quest called Speak to Bob. Let's see. Boom, Speak to Bob. Look at that. Wonderful. Now we'd better deal with specific quest clearing now. So if I have, also, why? Yeah, okay, that's what I'm talking about. So if I've got an if I've got a Speak to Bob quest, then walking out the pen should not clear Speak to Bob, right? So let's get that sorted. Quick commit, because we did add a second quest. And then we need to clear the right quest, clear the correct quest. So let's do that. And then I'll check the chat. Clear the correct quest. A bit scared of this. We could use a dictionary to determine the quest is complete. Yeah, we could do all sorts of things. The quest game object could just hold that state. Why have a separate data structure? Remember, we've already, if we're going down this route, we've got a data structure of quests. It's called the object hierarchy here. This whole lot could persist through load, if necessary, and so on. So it's all possible. We can always do a data migration if we have to. Look, I'm not worried. We can always, this Speak to Bob, this data, if we need this data, which file is it going to sit in, by the way? Where does Speak to Bob, with our current setup, this is not a prefab, quick pop quiz for you guys. Which file does Speak to Bob live in on my disk right now? Type it in the chat. What file am I looking for? See if you can work that out. If I was to do a search across my entire solution, where would I find the string Speak to Bob at the moment? I know the answer. I'm just wondering if you do. All right, let's carry on while you guys think about that. I want to clear a specific quest. So I'm now going to take in the quest. When I go to clear a quest, I want to. Well, actually, first I want to make sure I can add multiple quests to the text box. So let's see what happens if I try and do 2 quests. We are going to need to use a list in a minute because it ain't going to work like this otherwise. Speak to Bob.
Well met, friend. I say,
him.
you're on the right path
Escape
to the
pen. Okay. That's fine. For now, we'll just do a \n. Now, I can't just clear the text box because it means I'm just clearing all quests. I need to take a specific quest out the list. So the quest journal does have state. The quest journal state is a list or queue. And we're going to use it more like a list or more like a queue or a dictionary. Probably is a dictionary of... Is it a list? Let's look at the list operations. I'm not sure we're necessarily using it like a list. So remove at. I don't want to remove by index. I want to remove by type. Let's just try it. Let's just go for a list of quests, like so, called quests. Simple as that. And it equals a new list of quests. Is list going to work? Should do, I think. And then we're going to separate the view and the data layer from here. So instead of, well, for the moment, I'm going to just add it to the list. So if we just say quests dot. Now, how does it work with a list? I've forgotten completely how lists work for a second. Won't take me long to get back into it because I've been in Python so long. How does a C# list work? Why can't I just add to this list? What am I missing here? Because I haven't got an S on the end, that's what I'm missing. Quest.add and then the quest, that's fine. So that list will now contain that quest. Now, can I just remove the quest by the actual reference? I think I can. think that works. And then for the moment, we could, from a view layer point of view, just, well, what I'll do for now is I'm just going to go messages first, void updates, bit minging, but we'll sort it out later on. Print quests. No, that's not going to work. Let's just do it. Let's just update. Let's make a method. Update quest list. Where is this quest journal? It's there. Okay. So then we're going to make a method. And how's it going to do it? It's going to, for each, proxies, yeah, exactly. Well, we'll see. So for each quest in quest in quests, we're gonna go find the text object, the get component text anyway against this thing, like so. So this is a text, a quest text equals that. Just go get it, cache the reference, and then we're going to say every update for the moment. We're simply going to update the quest list, our quest view. We could call it that. It's better name because it's not the list we're changing. And we're going to go quest text plus equals basically what we had before, quest dot get quest as string, like so, plus, and we'll probably, slightly disgusting, put a \n in, but it'll do the job. Try that. So what I'm going to try and do is we add a quest, remove a quest, and we constantly just refresh that quest view. Let's see. Much heavier than it needs to be. Oh, I've done a boo-boo on line 12. Where have I done a boo-boo on line 12? Missing some curlies, some brackets. Let's have a look. You're a little unaware of the path we're going down now. Me too, at the moment, but let's see. Complete quest takes 0 arguments. So what we're trying to do, just to recap then, is I'm trying to actually have some state on the quest journal. I'm trying to have the idea that the quest journal knows what the active quests are. I should probably call it that. It's not the same as the quest that exists in the world, but it's the active quests. So the quest journal has the active quest. The world may have the definition of the quests that are available in this world. That's the route I'm going down at the moment. All right, so, and then I'm trying to say that we're going to add and remove quests to this list, and then we're just going to have a simple view layer thing that updates the text for the moment. And what I'm trying to do is remove the correct quest when we complete the quest. So if I go down here, and in the escape quest, for example, where we complete the quest, if I pass the quest in question through, now what is the quest? How do I get the quest? The escape quest inherits from quest. I want to pass through the super class. So I want to pass through the quest instance, which is this thing here, this quest, or this one in this case, escape the pen. So I think what I'm passing through is game object. I think that's correct. Let's see. Maybe as quest. Was that going to work? Is it going to cast there? No, because it doesn't have an explicit cast. Right, I'm confused now as to what I need to pass through to complete the quest. We need to get the quest from the escape quest, and I'm not entirely sure. I so rarely use inheritance. Let me go and do a little search. Pass instance of parent C#. And do a little search over here and see if I can work out what to pass. How to access the parent object. So this will be the instance of the escape quest. I think it is just this, which is what I was doing before. Let's have a look. Base? Base, is that a word? Escape the pen multiple times. Have I failed to debounce my mouse down somewhere? Have I removed that code? Am I getting multiple objects receiving? I'm not sure why. Okay, we'll worry about that in a second. And then what goes on here? Speak to Bob. Okay, that's simply because on every frame in my quest journal, I continually add that and I never clear it. So what I need to do is just clear the text view. So the quest text equals a blank, I think. I think that's all that's happening. And it's just flying off the bottom. .text. And arguably we will have different classes for this view handling later, but I don't want to create any more classes than necessary for the moment. Escape the pen. Speak to Bob. Come on. Ah, you bugger. So why are we not removing escape the pen? Let's take a look in the quest journal. Let's make sure that's being called properly. Print removing, and then put the quest name through and just see what happens. And then I think the answer is sitting right there in the chat. I think that Perceptual Lucidity Games might be right that we need base, but let's see. Just make sure that we're on the code path
Well
first.
met,
That's
friend.
being called.
I say, you're on the right path to the village.
Then base will be a nice new learning for everybody. Removing escape detector, escape quest, although you're not. So are you suggesting then that what I want to pass through here is base? Let's try. Keyword base is not valid in this context, unfortunately. No, you're not. Okay, what are we suggesting? What am I missing here? Escape. Removing escape detector. That. Quest journal. Oh, okay. I asked how to access the superclass. Yeah, so what I want to do is, I want, when we complete the quest, when we call complete quest, I want to remove the quest from this list of active quests, despite the fact that the escape quest is a subclass of quests. So that's what I want to do. Just going to print out the quest, just try and get a little peek into the quest list, which we could do other ways. We could do all sorts of different things with Visual Studio. Let's just have a look. Quest 1, escape quest. Quest 2, escape quest. They're both logging now, so they're both in the list. Right, and then if I go and try and leave. No, they're still both in the list. It is not removing escape quest. Is that even how remove works with a dictionary, with a list? I think it should be. Does look right. Okay, any of you smart Alex on the stream, what's going on there then? Why are we not removing the quest properly from this list? The quest list looks like it's got the right stuff in it. Yep, I cannot see why the removal is not working when we trigger this. Complete quest this, which is this escape quest instance, is getting passed through. We try and remove it. It does not come out of the lists. Let's just have a look at .remove in C#. See what I'm missing. That's not particularly helpful. Remove the first occurrence of a specific object. Put the quests in another list so you can see the completed quests. Yeah, that's a good idea. Keeping track of that stuff is a good idea, potentially. Or you just, in the instantiated quest, if we decide to store quests here, which is a bit weird, but it does give the designer a lot of ability to see what's going on. You could mark these things as completed, potentially, over here in the inspector, so that at any point you can pause the game, have a look over here and go, boom, quest 1, what's the completion? Quest 2, what's the completion? So that's another option. That's a good idea. It's another option. I'm just trying to work out for now why I'm not removing this quest from the list. It's not super clear why that's not happening to me. I'm just going to see if there's any other clues. Escape quest. Not sure. Try escape the pen on its own. Removing escape quest object, but you really aren't. Otherwise, that list would be empty, and the list is not empty. I'll take quest view. Just print active quests dot length or count. I think it's just going to stay at 2 once we have 2 quests. Let's just check. I don't think I took a long enough break is part of the problem here. Brain fading a little bit. has a size of 1, now has a size of 2, still has a size of 2. The remove is clearly not working. On the quest journal, where is this quest journal object? Where's the instantiated object? Let's just try and remind myself of where that happens. Not reveal in Finder. Oh dear, I am going to go for a longer break in a sec. I think that's the fundamental problem. Is brain fade. Quest list is sitting there. Yeah, well, the instance is there. It's this quest list instance, which is actually a bit of a weird place to have it when you've got quest down here as well. But we'll pull all this together once the architecture comes together. Okay, I'm going to recycle Unity in case we've had a few problems where it's just not worked for no apparent reason. And then I'll go off and research what I'm doing wrong from a C# point of view. That means I'm not removing from that list. I think it may be a subtlety about the inheritance, but we will see. Skippity-bippity. At least we have a list of quests now. Escape the pen. Length 1. Speak to Bob. Length 2. Removing escape the quest, but you're not because we still have 2 as the thing that's logging out. Okay. Who knows C# lists? Hey, Justin Horner, nice to see you here. Who knows C# lists well enough to see, obviously, what I have done wrong on the screen there? So this quest journal should be removing, in my opinion, the active quest from the quest. We get as far as this, removing quest, I think. Let me see if that is still being logged. Yep. But it never happens. We do not end up reducing the size of this list, which means that it probably can't relate this quest to what's being removed. I could print what we're adding. So we could say adding plus quest and just compare those two things and just make sure that what's adding matches what's being removed. That would be one simple way. I'll commit the code in a minute so you guys can have a look. In fact, I can leave you guys to fix it while I'm on a break. How's that for delegating the creation of the course to the people who can take the course? So adding quest 1 of type escape quest, adding quest 2 of type escape quest, and then removing escape detector. That's what's wrong. There you go, pretty clear. When I remove, I'm removing this, which is escape quest is on a game object called escape detector, and that is what's coming through. So that's no good. We're adding things that are called quest 1 and quest 2, these weird game objects in here, and then we're removing something completely different. So we're adding the wrong types to our list is the problem here. It's filling up with a list of game objects, which are these quest definitions here, and then it's trying to remove a different game object, which is the escape quest object, which is wherever it was in the meadows, down the bottom of the meadows. There, so not what we want to do. So we need something that is going to bind these two together. I wonder if we can just add. So it's the wrong list. It's the list of the wrong type of stuff. But the most natural thing for a quest journal to hold is quests. Unfortunately, all these things, because of the component architecture of Unity, all of these things that have an escape quest on them, or basically have an escape quest on them, which in turn is a quest, are also of type quest and escape quest. So all of these things have multiple types. So they're just different objects. That's the problem. If I add the game, if I deal with game, so it's a type. I know what's wrong. It's a type mismatch now. I now need to think about the architecture. What are we going to keep a list of? So let's just see what happens.
Well,
if we
net
add the game
friend,
object.
I say, you're on the right path to the village.
This becomes a Unity engine mono behavior, adding quest 1. So now we're adding the quest 1. Don't really want to be. Yeah, I'm not sure about these game objects here. I'm not sure about this format. I'm going to go, so diffuse mode thinking is what comes next. I'm trying to think how this is going to pan out, and I'm not coding well now. So what is it? It's I guess it's 2 p.m. Haven't had a coffee for a while. I'm going to take a break for a little bit. I want to break this stream up anyway. So not think about it for a little bit, and then how all this hangs together will become clear. Yeah, we could have unique IDs, but there are already IDs that are, if we're using game objects, it's already IDs behind the scene. So there are lots of ideas, but what I don't want to do is add any extra complexity when we don't need it. A bit like, we've already got somewhere to hold the quest name. Why have this? We've already got UUIDs behind the scene. Why add any more? So really just want to keep it tight, and I haven't yet seen the way to keep it tight. So I'm going to go into diffuse mode thinking for a bit and go away and have a think about it. I might stream while I'm outside just for fun. Not sure how to get the mic working, but I might try and hold my phone and use the mic if you guys want some further entertainment. But I'm just going to not try and solve the problem for the moment. So need to get my version control sorted, clear the correct quest. The correct quest. So I'm going to stash this rather than commit it. So failed. I could actually just copy this. Look, if you fail something, you could copy that. You could go to stash, and we could say failed to, but just before I commit, by the way, I should close Unity for the moment. Make sure everything is saved up. So quit Unity because I'm going to have a bit of a break. Go in here, stash that I failed to do that. It doesn't want a colon in my message. Stash that. Back to where we were, which was fine, but we weren't removing the quests. I go away. I'm going to instruct my brain now what to think about. I'm going to think about where are we storing quest information and the names and the progression of quest. What's the interface to the designer like in all of this? Do we want Rick to be able to pause the game, look and see the progression of the quests without having to create any custom interface for that? Sure, you could do it with clever interface, but the ability when you're playing a longer game like the RPG to be 5 minutes into gameplay and stop and say, oh, roll back the dialogue, or stop and say, what's the quest progression? That sort of thing without creating extra work for ourselves would be really useful. So that's why I quite like having these quest instances in the world. Do we also need to have a list of active quests? We do. But does it need to be a separate list? Not really. I'm thinking this through now. Maybe those lists of quests in the world, these things, I've closed the editor, but those things that are under the quest part of the hierarchy, maybe it's just a question of adding state to them and saying, well, what's the status, an enum, for instance, what's the status of this quest? Is it a locked quest because we're not ready to even issue this quest yet? Is the quest unlocked, which would mean it could be issued if you get to the trigger conditions? Is it in progress or is it completed? There you go. That's thinking through it. That might be quite a nice data structure. And then we don't even try and have that separate list of quests, because in trying to write code that contains a list of quests here, it's already we've gone back in the version control, but when I put in a list of quests, it's already a cache. It's a duplication of information we already have in the scene, right? So maybe leave the engine to track it. So I think actually thinking about it, it's going to be the best bet. So I'm gonna not do it yet, but I'm gonna pre-commit that I'm gonna try next time. I'm gonna try and enum a quest state enum, and it's going to contain things like locked, unlocked, or ready, locked, ready, unlocked, I guess, in progress, and complete. All right, awesome. So might be worth a quick little flow diagram, visualize the connection between the different quest systems, noting down the desired features. Yeah, it can be totally, but it's immediately out of date. The minute you've drawn it, it's out of date. And a lot of this for me is the feel of how do these feel to use. So I'm changing the architecture so rapidly right now that if I draw a diagram, that diagram's going to immediately go out of date. So, and if you use the crutch of a diagram, then I may have kept that scriptable object and the quest. And you know how we had scriptable objects and conversations and quest definitions? Well, that's kind of easier to live with if you've got a diagram that explains it. And then if you're leaning on the diagram, then you forget that actually it would be better just to simplify the very project. So I'm trying to make the project self-documenting. It's easier for me when I'm creating it and I'm keeping it in my head than it is for you guys to follow. But obviously in the accompanying Udemy courses, we will hopefully go to the best of both worlds. So yeah, I love whiteboards in some respects, but on others, it's an abstraction of what I'm actually doing, which is working in the engine. And in the engine, it's not just the relationships between things, but it's all the details of like, what are we going to do in the inspector? What are we going to do in script? What are the ergonomics like? Like where we said, you have a quest and then it has a name. You think it's a good idea to put a name on a quest, but actually the game object has a name, so why wouldn't you use that? That type of stuff wouldn't be eked out by the whiteboard. So you love whiteboards, but also love trying to just keep working in the project and get it nice and ergonomic. Anyway, I'm really hungry. I only eat one meal a day as part of intermittent fasting, not for, just for health purposes, but I'm now really hungry. I'm going to go and probably get another coffee. Although I've had 2, so 2 coffees is my max. What am I going to do now? How am I going to deal with this amount of hunger? I didn't eat enough yesterday by mistake. If you accidentally don't eat enough dinner when you only eat 1 meal a day, you end up really hungry. So brain's onto food right now. I'll try some exercise and some water. So if you'd like to see part of my break, let me know. But the problem is I've got like young kids wandering around and stuff, so I may just do some private time. Can't make my entire life public. I will become even more externally referenced than I already am. So I'll be back with you sometime a little bit later on this afternoon. Let me see what the schedule is. My diary. Looks like. Anybody else had a problem recently with Google Calendar where, or with Google services in general, whereas if you've got more than one Google account that you use, that suddenly it's opening the wrong one? I've been having to encode which account I want into my URLs. Yeah, I've still got time to stream. We could have almost continuously stream into the Unreal stream at 4 p.m. So I'll be back on in the afternoon. Won't be too long, and I'll look forward to it as soon as I have some solutions. So hang around. Be ready for streaming to start again, and I will see you soon. I'll probably start again at past, something like that, past the hour. So in 25 and a bit minutes time. All right, and then we'll stream straight into. Well, we'll have a brief break, but we'll stream straight through into Sam's Unreal stream. Okay, cool. See you soon, guys. Have fun. Nice to have you on board, and thanks for staying around, hanging around, watching the real world, process of getting this stuff done. The frustrations, the difficulties, the fun, and we'll see you in a bit. Let's just jack the Unreal stream. Okay. All right. See you guys. Bye.